Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lee and I like to talk about anime, Korean dramas, books, and fashion. So if you are into any of that, then stick around. Last time I posted a video of my top 5-star reads from 2023, but I wanted to continue on the role that I've been having of my monthly reading wrap-ups, especially since December was such a good reading wrap-up. So I am going to share some of the books that I finished in the month of December. So I am going to try to go as in chronological order as I can, but I can't fully remember now that I'm looking at my stack of books. But I know for sure that the first book that I started off with was The King of Pride. Now, I love Anna Huang. Anna Huang is the reason why I started reading again with her Twisted series, and I was curious but not as excited for this series as I was with her other one. I read King of Wrath and I believe I gave it a 4 out of 5, and I'm also going to give this, I think I gave it a 4 out of 5. I just don't love this series as much as I loved the Twisted series. I don't know what it is about these characters, because I think that Anna's writing style has gotten better. Like, I think she's just honed in on her style even more since the Twisted series. There's just something about the characters. I liked this book more than King of Wrath. However, I don't know, there's just something that doesn't have the same feeling as the first series did, and I really miss that. I did like Kai more than I liked Dante, and I found that Isabella was a really funny character, and I think she brought a lot of joy and a lot of laughter to Kai's life, and that he brought a lot of seriousness and more determination and encouraged her determination. And so I thought that as a couple they were a really good balance for one another, and I do like the fact that even though there was family drama of his mom not accepting her at first, I do like how that wasn't like such an over dramatic thing, which it could have been like, oh, I'm not going to accept her, take my money and go, like very Korean drama style, but I'm glad that it wasn't. The fact that he's British gives this like a bunch of extra points for me, because British accents make everything better, right? I don't have anything like memorable to talk about with this book. It was good. I finished it. I tabbed it. I do know people who have DNF'd this multiple times, which I think is interesting. Out of all of the books, I think King of Sloth will be my favorite. And I know I'm gonna like the next one, which is King of Greed, which is like a marriage almost ending, trying to win back your wife kind of a situation. I think I'm gonna like that because I haven't seen that trope done before. I haven't read it, and I feel like Anna's going to do it really well. I think she handles plot lines that other people try to do and do a little clunky. I think she does really well, like she did with Twisted Games with the Bodyguard Princess one. I think she's gonna do that well. King of Pride was an interesting one. They both have mutual friends, and Isabella was working at the Valhalla Club at the beginning of this book, which is another way that they were connected in their meeting. But I wouldn't say, I don't really know what trope it would be other than just romance. I don't really know what the trope was. Like, I feel like with the first book it was very much arranged marriage, and then the third book now I definitely know what it is, and the fourth book I understand the trope. But this one I can't really think of what like the particular this is this trope I'd label it. But overall it was good. I mean, I know some people who really like this and some people who don't, so I think it just depends on your taste. I think the next book that I read was Finale, and if you saw my video from last time, I did talk about this, but this is a 5-star read for me. The whole Caraval series is highly recommended, but Finale is my favorite of the 3 books. If you want to read Finale, you will have to read the entire series. But I did really enjoy it. Stephanie Garber is an incredible author. I found the whole series to be really beautifully done. The world is really well written and really set up beautifully, which I really liked, because since then I've read some fantasy books where the worlds just weren't set up well, and I had so many questions throughout the series, whereas with this series, when I had questions, she already had it in the plot, that by the time I was asking it, she was already hinting that she was going to answer it. So I definitely recommend this. The first book, Caraval, sets up the world of Caraval. Legendary goes deeper into each of the characters that you're introduced to, and Finale closes that all up and also opens the door to her next series, which I'm planning on reading, which is Once Upon a Broken Heart. And you get introduced to the characters that are in that and some more of the world building and fantasy that goes into that. But overall, this is a really great book. I love Donatella as a character. I loved meeting Jax, who you will meet later more of in Once Upon a Broken Heart. And I loved seeing Legend and all of the other characters and seeing more with them. I will say, with this book, I thought I was going to be able to predict all of the twists and turns that she was going to talk about in here or write about, and I couldn't. Every time she threw me for a loop constantly, where I would just be like screaming into the air like, oh my god, what's happening? Why is this happening? Oh my god. It was so good, and I'm so glad that it was unpredictable like that. And this is definitely a top fantasy read for me. I think after Caraval, I read The Graham Effect. Now, I didn't realize this is like the kids of Elle Kennedy's other series of hockey romances, so I'm gonna have to go back and read those, because I guess Gigi, the main character in this, is the daughter of one of the characters in the other books, which I only learned about recently, and I honestly just picked this up on a whim at the bookstore. It was buy one get one 50% off, and it looked interesting, and I'd seen people like talking about it on TikTok, I think, but it was really big, and despite how big this is, it didn't feel long or clunky or anything like that. I read through this so fast. I think I read through this in like 2 or 3 days, and it's over 500 pages, and it was so good. The banter, funny, the characters, well written. I love how they support each other. There are a couple surprises in here that threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting that, and I really enjoyed it. I think I gave this a 4.5. This is better than some hockey books that I've read, but not as good as Icebreaker. I'd say maybe Icebreaker's only like a little bit higher on my tier list in terms of hockey romances, because I did really love this, and now I probably will go back and read all of Elle Kennedy's hockey book series. She writes about hockey really well, and like the plays and the technicalities of it, more so than Icebreaker does. So if you wanted more of like an actual hockey book, this is it, which I like, because that was like a qualm of mine for some other hockey romances I've read, where it's like a sprinkle of hockey and then like the rest of the plot, which like that's fine, but like I liked that about this. I liked that it was really involved. I'm so sad I don't like this book. I'm so sad. This was one of my most anticipated reads of the year, and I tried to buy this book multiple times, and the first time the spine was broken at the store and it was the only copy. Then they said they had a copy, they were sold out. And so when I finally got my hand on Forget Me Not, I was so disappointed. I tabbed it, but I don't know. I'm probably not going to keep this. I really wanted to like it. This follows a couple that broke up, and it's about them like kind of reconnecting and getting back together, and that trope really interested me. However, it was barely touched upon. I felt like it really wasn't talked about as much as I wanted it to be. This follows Amma and Elliot. Elliot inherited his father's flower shop, and he does flowers for weddings and big events. Amma is a wedding planner, and this was just so overly focused on Amma and this influencer's wedding and the obsessiveness of this wedding and the drama around this wedding. And only time we got Elliot's POV was when we were getting his side of the story about why they broke up and the history of their like past relationship, which I'm sure was done on purpose. I just didn't like it. I wanted to know what he was feeling in the moment, and I was just honestly really disappointed. The writing style was great, but like I don't like wedding planning enough to be like really into this the way that like I wanted it to be. I felt like it was like more wedding planning than it was the couple and the relationship and them getting back together and them interacting. It was so much of the wedding. I think I gave this 3 stars. I will double check and put it here on the screen, but it was really sad. After that, I read Love Light Farms, which was also a 5-star read for me in my last video. This was so good. This was the only holiday romance that I read. It follows Stella and Luca, who are friends of 10 years, and it is a fake dating trope. Stella applies for an influencer to come to the farm to promote it and like promote the business because it's not doing well, to promote her Christmas tree farm. And she puts in the application that she bought the farm with her boyfriend and that the two of them run it together. And then she gets accepted and she has to come to the realization, oh, I don't actually have a boyfriend. And so she ends up asking Luca, and the two of them, you see through the different perspectives, have both secretly had feelings for one another for the last 10 years. And this is like them coming together, and the way that it has them like come together for this fake dating and then the transition into them actually dating was so good. This is definitely 5 stars for me though on vibes. Like I read this book in one day. So I think that adds to it. I don't read a lot of books in like I'm going to finish this one day. So that added to the 5 stars. The other thing that I really liked was how, even though Stella has trust issues, and specifically trust issues with men, that Luca really understood that, made it apparent, and like really showed her that he is going to be there for her and he wants to be involved in her life and be a part of this. So I really liked it. I thought it was super cute. If you're not interested in a holiday read, it's easy enough that this doesn't have to be a holiday read. Like the only Christmassiness about it is the fact that it's set on a Christmas tree farm around Christmas, but that's not like the main focus. Like that last book, the main focus was the wedding, and if you took that out, you wouldn't have a lot of the book. If you took the Christmas tree farm out of this, you would still have a really good book. I also read the first of the Heaven's Official Blessing books. I am currently watching the anime, and I would say if you are interested in starting this, the first book is pretty much the first season. The second book is pretty much the second season. I'm going to read the second book next. So you could, in theory, skip those 2 books. However, I would recommend watching the show, reading this, because you get a visual sense of each of the characters' names, and then this goes into really great detail about whose backstory is whose, why some people have multiple names, why certain things happen, why certain characters have grudges against each other or might know each other. So I really liked the show, and this was just like a really good, not a refresher, but like a deeper dive into the lore and the world and the reason why things happen. And I really liked that. So I'm gonna keep reading it. I think there's like 6 books, these are big boys. And I will say the flirting in this is much better than the anime. The final book that I read was Heartless by Elsie Silver. I liked this book more than the first one. I love Cade, I love Willa, and I love how they interact with little Luke. I thought all of this was so good. I almost gave this 5 stars. I gave it 4.75. I like a grumpy character for a male character, but I don't know, there were a few times where I was like, dude, lighten up. Be fun and flirty. Like, I don't know, that was just me. So that's the only reason I didn't give it 5 stars, but I loved this. It was a single dad cowboy small town romance. It is the second in the Chestnut Springs series. I am working my way through that. I have the next 2 already lined up, ready to read in the next couple months. And I'm really excited about. I loved this. It is a little bit of an age gap, but like an appropriate age gap. Like I think he's 30 and she's 25, and that felt really natural. The way she interacts with Cade's son, Luke, so cute, so sweet. The way that like the kid is written, I adored. I was a little worried that they were gonna have the mom come back and have her be like a huge long drama point, but I really liked the fact that it was just like, here she is, there she goes, here she is, bye. And it didn't drag out, because I feel like sometimes that's like used as like a plot point to like drag on the relationship and throw around the single dad thing. But I loved this. I love a good single dad AU. The Nanny got me into that, and this is the second one that I've read of it. I think both of those did really good jobs. I liked how you still got a lot of Rhett and Summer in this, because Summer is Willa's best friend, and that's how Willa comes to the farm and gets this job. So I liked how that's all still really interconnected. And yeah, this just made me like the series even more, and I got to go deeper into the town and everything there. So yeah, definitely recommend. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time.